Have a good time?
Yeah. Yep.
Good.
It's my shrink's office.
Hello. So you're in that virtual background where your body kind of fades in and out.
Yeah, white's not the best color. And my skin's so white, sometimes part of me disappears. My hair seems to disappear a lot though.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I dream a genie like.
That's wacky.
I know, because it's like a 22-inch long ponytail just disappeared.
Our background's real.
Mine is, I mean, I have a real one, but it's really messy right now.
Oh, well, we're in a bedroom, so it doesn't matter.
I have piles of paper.
Oh, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
One good, one great. You guys need to talk and get on the same page there.
He's better at being the positive response on that. We both try after sitting through Cullen's trainings and stuff. He's always like, you never say good, you know. So if Cullen asks you how you are and you say good, he says, just good.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Oh, we
right.
got Harry.
We can see you. You can't, and you could probably hear us, Harry, but you can't. We can't hear you yet. I can unmute you. Hold on. Oh, nope. Looks like you have yourself muted.
Hey, there we are.
There
Here
we go.
are.
Hello.
Oh.
How are
Hello,
you?
everybody.
Hey, Harry.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm working a lot of hours at work and sick of it.
So
So,
therefore, that's why you're here.
well, yes, in a word, yes, that's true.
Well, there are a
yeah,
lot of
talk-
people in this country not working a lot.
I know, exactly, and I thought of that a little while ago. I'm like, you should be happy. Well, anyway, I'm on a contract that ends in a couple months, and so that's another reason I'm here. But yeah, I want to reconnect and see what you guys are up to, and you know, maybe look into the web center thing, which I had done last year as well.
Okay, very good.
Well, here comes Charlotte.
Charlotte actually just finished that training. Did she tell you that?
No, the web centers. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlotte, can you speak yet?
Yes.
Okay. Harry was just saying he's thinking of taking the web center training, and I said you just finished it, so you guys should talk.
It was really good.
oh, yeah. I mean, I took it last year, but I need to take it again because it's all gone, you know, in one ear and out the other. But
Who'd you do it with?
she had Carmen.
Who'd
Carmen.
you do it with?
Uh-huh.
Carmen.
Okay, so she did like an online version of it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. We did it 4 hours at a time, 2 days.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think she's having another one soon. So yeah,
Well, she just had one. She just had one that ended this weekend because I saw her post the graduating class. But does she have another one coming up?
I'll ask her. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll find out.
Yeah.
I've got her email address.
And if she doesn't, I'm sure somebody does. So,
Okay.
and because it's Zoom, they don't have to be in your local area, which is
That's nice.
very
Yeah, it's about $25. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I hope they keep these. I hope they keep these after because there are never any trainings in our area.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be hard to go back. I think we crossed the Rubicon with this.
Mhm. Can't unring the bell.
Yeah. I think we're going to end up seeing a little mixture of everything. I think that there's still one of the things that we realize is there's still something missing from Zoom. Like Zoom meetings are great, but when you get to a point of really the interaction of people meeting a live person and getting a live
Energy.
story, the energy that's made at a meeting you cannot replace that on Zoom. And we see that in majority of the people, they're losing that connection with people. And so I think it's going to be important to go back to live as soon as possible, but I don't know that we can ever return to everything live. I think when they return to live things, they're going to see their numbers drop, and that's going to change a lot.
I think the Zoom helped the momentum. Now we just have to figure out what it's going to take to keep that momentum.
But something like Carmen's training, it was really hard for her to find space, and it was expensive.
Right.
And she can do just as effective training on Zoom for a fraction of the cost and less hassle, people canceling than her getting stuck with this really expensive room.
Yeah.
So for her, that she said it would be so much more helpful. She can train people all over the country.
I agree. And I agree, like with TLS, it's the same way, but think about Motives. Motives is an hands-on. Motives online is not the same as Motives in person.
Right.
Yeah, but I would have never been able to have done the Motives training because I would have had to gone, closest one that I've seen is like 3 states away.
Right. I understand that. But what I'm saying is it's fine to take something like that online, but you can't have that online only. Like you cannot learn custom blend effectively, not working with people directly and seeing it on other people's skin.
Matching.
I didn't do the custom blend certification. I just did the other one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to do custom blend.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. I actually just sold my custom blend kit today. And the only reason I sold it because I have somebody here in North Carolina that is willing, she's already started using it and she really wants to continue using it. And she's going to have far more customers than I will ever have with Custom Blend. So I was like, you can have my kit.
BV.
And so now I can get her started and she'll be blending customers every week. Whereas I'm lucky if I blend a customer once every quarter now. So I figured that was major leverage for me to sell her my kit at reduced cost. And now she can go create custom blends every week. So
Maria did mine. She did a great job.
great. And that's the thing. I mean, I loved it in the day that I was doing it, but it's not a love of mine to want to do. Everything I do is always talking about nutrition and skincare. And honestly, now because it's such a business for us, I do so much business training that I don't have time to sit down and be doing somebody's custom blend. It's not of interest to me anymore.
Okay.
So, and Pip's not going to pick up on it.
I took the class.
He did.
I did.
He did. You actually were a model for Carlos.
I did.
Maria said she's going to be running late.
Okay.
And we don't have Laura tonight.
Laura is not going to be here because she's with her sister still in the hospital, and it doesn't look like they're going to get out of there for another hour. They finally got the blood clot taken care of, it looks like.
Ugh.
Yeah, we've had a
Not been a
horrific
great day.
I don't know. I know, Stacia, I saw that you saw it. Charlotte Israel, which is one of our team players. She's actually a senior master coordinator. She doesn't get on here because she does her own team calls, but she actually lost her daughter today. Her daughter passed away. She found her dead in her bed this morning. She died of a heart attack. And so if you can just, I posted it in the Southeast region and I posted it in Team Tampa Bay, which is where she is. So
The other Charlotte, my twin.
your
The other
twin,
Charlotte.
your twin, our twins from another mother.
Yeah, I have great pictures of the two of us.
Yes, you do. We had a great time in Washington last year. So anyway, so tonight was going to be all about, we've been talking about creating our stories. And I know, Stacia, you were on vacation last week, but we've been talking about, and again, we go through this, like Harry, you were probably here when we created stories before, but it doesn't hurt to, we're always repeating the same things because we've got to get this stuff down so we can help our people do it. And actually, I was going to ask Denise and Paul, have you heard anything from Brian? Is he settled into his job yet? Like,
He finally made his first sale, but I don't know exactly, you know, I mean, Paul talked to him more about it. But they're actually on doing a summer camp kind of thing for kids this week. It's not an overnight thing, but so they're gone all day during the day. So that's probably why he's not on tonight. I did talk to him a little bit about web centers because I asked Charlotte if she would mind sharing any information with him, because he's already reaching out to these companies, and I think there would be so much more for him to offer them. So he is interested, but they're going to be doing this camp all week this week.
Okay.
So I will, and we're taking care of their dogs while they're gone. So I'll be talking to them through the week. So I'll bring it up again next weekend and see if I can get him and Charlotte on a call or a Zoom or something. Just
I'll give them a little bit of information I've learned.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm so glad that you guys thought of that, because Pip and I actually talked about that and said it would be such a natural fit for him. And it's so much more lucrative than what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so for him to be out there, if he's out there making calls for advertising in a newspaper, he could if he can do that, he could so easily be selling websites.
Right.
And it's so much more lucrative for him than the job he's got.
Yeah. And part of his research on contacting each customer is looking for their website to kind of see what they offer, so he's seeing how bad their websites are, so it gives him an in, but I don't know enough about it to coach him into how to talk to those people, but that's why I know he needs to go through the training, and I thought if Charlotte could feed him enough information to whet his appetite more about doing that and encourage him to pursue that, then we could take the next step from there.
Yeah. I'll find out when the next training is too, because it's not even just a website, it's all the social media and digital marketing, and there's so much to it. And then you take the training and then you buy a web center, your web center, and then from there it's pretty straightforward. In fact, he could actually just make the appointment and have them sell it. I mean, he just has to get people in front of them, and he could make some good money. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I would also say that if he's concerned, like if he comes back to you guys and says something like, well, it would be a conflict of interest for the job I have, I don't want to get in trouble. If that's the case, Charlotte, obviously you could then say, well, gosh, we could figure out something that, like, even if it was a 90-10, that he gets 90% and you get 10%. So in his heart, he could say, I'm referring you to a friend of mine.
Yeah, we could.
So that friend of his is selling the website. So he's not selling the website per se, so he wouldn't get in trouble.
He also probably doesn't know about the iTransact
That's right.
opportunity with the payment things, where he could go into a place and just offer iTransact to look at their payment system. Because if they can save money on their credit card payments, he can make a sale without actually having to do anything.
Except that you have to be on iTransact yourself to qualify for the BV on iTransact, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he does or
Yeah, I'm not sure if he does. When you're selling iTransact to an outside customer, there's actually, I think there's BV in it, but I think there's also retail profit in it.
Oh, I never heard about the retail profit. I'd only heard about the BV.
Yeah, I think there's retail profit. Double check on it, but I think there is retail profit on it as well as that. And any questions you have, what's his name?
Matt.
Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt. Yeah, I remember him.
Wait,
I've got his card somewhere, so
yeah.
I can reach out to him. But
If you don't have it, let me know, because Matt literally would take anybody's phone calls. He is the most approachable man ever.
okay, I'll look into that.
Okay, very good. So yeah, so he's not here, and then Laura's not here. But anyway, and Marie, you said Maria's coming.
She
Okay,
has a meeting with her accountant. She's trying to get
Oh.
all his questions answered.
okay, gotcha. So with that being said, we wanted to really work in and hone in on your stories. And the story meaning that when you're talking to someone and having conversations, whether you're approaching them about business or you're just having a conversation with somebody, and then you have the ability to talk about yourself a little bit, you've got to have a very honed in, organized story so that it's something that people are attracted to. And so what I want to do is go through, and I know that Denise and Paul, I'm not sure about Paul, but I know Denise, you and I had worked with your story that you actually wrote it and sent it to me a while back, a long while back. Charlotte, I know we've worked with your story. And I think Stacia, we worked with your story when you first got started. Am I correct?
I think twice we have. I think
Okay.
I've done 2 different versions of it.
Okay. And so Harry, I'm not sure that you ever got to that part, but so what I'm going to do is I want to actually interact, and I don't know how you guys want to do it. If you want to act like you're actually just having a conversation with one of us and be able to share your story naturally, so it's not this awkward, like I don't want you to go into presentation mode because you're not presenting yourself to someone. You're having a natural conversation with someone to share your story. And so, like, for example, I was on a call. I'm going to back up. So I'm going to give you an example. We went to a health fair that was in the parking lot of a chiropractor's office in the town next to us. This is probably about 6 months ago. And at that health fair, Anytime Fitness had a booth set up. There were a bunch of booths there, and we just walked around booth to booth. And obviously my idea was to meet people. I wasn't there to talk about what we do, but I was there to meet people and get cards and be able to hopefully make some new relationships. So we went around booth to booth to booth and just talked to a few people. And Anytime Fitness happened to be there, and there were 2 guys at the booth. So when we walked up, I just walked up, and all I simply said is, "Oh, Anytime Fitness." I said, "I'm very, very familiar with with this franchise. How many franchises do you have?" And the guys basically started talking, because now they're like, "Oh, that possible customer." And so they start talking to us and said, you know, what that they have, that they had 2, but they've consolidated into 1. The other one was here, blah, blah, blah. They start talking to us. The older man starts saying, you know, "Well, here's a card for you to try and work out, or free workout." And we were like, "Oh, well, we actually are looking to partner with people who actually train, because we are new to the area. And we are looking to partner with people to move our mission forward that we've been on for the last 25 years. And of course, then they looked at us and said, "What is that mission?" And so I basically at that point said, "We work together with licensed health professionals and fitness professionals and other non-licensed health professionals that are certificates, but we work with these people to create a wellness community where we can all leverage one another with referrals back and forth to be able to raise all of our businesses. And we have some very unique systems we work with. And so I would love to know, are one of you the owner?" And so this guy goes, "No, I am." And he starts telling it, "I am the consultant. I'm the business consultant for the owner. And I am this and I am that." And he goes, "And this is the general manager." So I'm like, "Oh, well, could I get your cards? Maybe we can connect. That would be great." And he's like, "Well, yes, definitely call me." So that was the consultant. So then I did call the consultant. We met. He actually referred us to another gym, which we're still kind of dancing with. Hasn't gone anywhere fast. And then I happened to look at the Anytime Fitness website. So I went to their website and saw that they are the owner is a Shaklee distributor. So obviously now I can't approach them because they already have products, they already have systems. I'm not going to try and beat it down. So long story short, we get into this whole COVID thing, and I'm going through my cards the other week and I come across his card. And I'm looking at the card and I'm thinking, okay, all the gyms are closed. I mean, like, you're general manager of a gym right now. What are you doing? And he's not the owner. So it's not like he's out doing, and I look at his LinkedIn, and his LinkedIn shows that he was an executive director with the YMCA. So now I know he's a business guy, not necessarily a fitness guy. And so I decided to call and talk to him. Well, I called the gym last week when they were just starting to reopen. And the girl that answered the phone goes, "Oh, he's not available." And I said, "Oh, well, could I leave, maybe reach him tomorrow? What time is he in?" And she said, "Well, he's not coming in. He's no longer here." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." I said, "I'll just call him on his cell phone." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So I hung up. Well, I don't have his cell phone. I called the other guy, the consultant. I texted him. I called him. He didn't answer. I texted him and said, "Hey, Jay, I'm looking to reach Scott. Do you happen to have his phone number?" He texted it to me instantly because we had already met with him. So we had developed enough of a trust that he knew I wasn't going to blow, this guy out of the water. So when I called Scott, then I have to have my story. So I called Scott and I said, "Scott, this is how we got connected. I got your number. I don't know if you remember meeting us, blah, blah, blah. But we are fairly new to the Jacksonville area. Jay told us that because again, I want to bring in the trust factor. Jay told us that you've been in the Jacksonville area for a number of years and that you've worked for the YMCA and that you've worked for Anytime Fitness. And this is what we're looking to accomplish in the area. We work with health professionals, blah, 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 and we're trying to connect people. What we do may or may not be a fit for you, but our passion is to be able to, especially through this COVID-19 pandemic, people are more and more aware of wanting to get their health back." And he goes, "Oh, you're right." And I said, "So I understand I tried to reach you at the gym and they said you were no longer there. Have you taken another job?" And he goes, "No, I'm kind of in between jobs." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you know what you're looking for?" And he said, "Well, I'm just keeping my options open." And I said, "Great." I said, "Would you be willing to meet with me via Zoom next week," which was today. So we booked the appointment for today. And I did a call today with Suzanne Patrick, who is a TLS trainer who owns a Fit Body Boot Camp gym in Atlanta. And so I brought her into the call for like 5 minutes. And so again, you have to have your story, and your story has to come from your heart. There has to be some kind of mission within your story, because people are not buying your business, they're buying you. They're buying what you want to accomplish. So your story, like with Denise and Charlotte, Denise, if you're dancing with somebody with MA Capital, or you're dancing with somebody over here with Motives, or Charlotte, you're dancing with somebody with Debt Shredder, you've got to kind of move your story in the right direction. You can't, I don't talk to people about those. I either talk about business or I talk about wellness. They're pretty much my stories. If I get into a beauty care story, I more so talk about business because I'm not comfortable having the conversation, and then I bring somebody else into it. So with that being said, I want to go through and kind of have you just tell me your story. Like if you were to call me up, and if you want to create the scenario, it doesn't matter. We all have to create a scenario in our head as to how we're going to do it. But whatever you want to do, we'll either be that party that you can talk to if you want us to respond, or if you want to just kind of go through your story. So I'm going to ask Denise or Charlotte to go first, just because they have more experience, and then we can move on.
Sure. Which one do you want? Do you want the financial services one or the health and wellness one?
Either one, it doesn't matter, because the main thing is to show, we might end up doing both at some point. I gotta move this.
Okay, I haven't really practiced like I should, so here we go. Hey Beth, how you doing?
Great.
What have you been doing through all this downtime?
Just spending time with family.
Yeah, have you been working at all online?
Oh, I've been really busy online, actually. I've been, super busy. What else do we have to do every day?
I know with stopping working and then all this COVID hitting, I've actually had a lot of time to start building my internet business.
Oh, you have an internet business?
I do. I actually started a few years back. I
thought you worked at a plumbing company.
I did. I was the controller of a plumbing company, but during that time, I actually started a side business that I've really enjoyed and I get a lot of satisfaction at, and I'm glad I have it now.
Oh, wow. What kind of business?
It's actually an internet type of franchise. I usually say franchise. It's an internet business where I actually help people. I specialize in helping people get healthy, and I also work in the financial area. But it actually, see, I don't usually try and combine them. I shouldn't do that.
So let me just say this.
Yeah.
If you know me, you know I'm into wellness.
I should go the wellness.
You'll go the wellness direction.
Okay, I actually found this company when I got really, really sick, and I had found some products that pretty much saved me, and I've actually made it my mission to help other people get healthy, and this internet business allows me to do that.
Wow. So when you say help other people get healthy, what are you doing?
Well, we offer supplementation and analysis of health, and just basically it's customized for whatever people need. And some people it's health and supplements. Sometimes it's weight loss. It's just a matter of customizing it for what people need. But we basically don't make anything, but we sell everything.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to say that was absolutely beautiful, except for one little phrase.
What's that?
Well, I'm going to ask, did anybody pick up what that one little phrase is that I'm going to tell her to remove?
Well, I have a suggestion.
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
My suggestion would be don't lead with the product when you said we have supplements, because what you're doing then is you're going, bam, we're a supplement company. Instead of just stick with the wellness, and we work, we work with people and we customize whatever, but don't give a product right away, because they're going to focus in then on you're selling supplements instead of you're selling wellness.
Okay.
Good job. That's what I was going to say.
Married a long
You're a
time.
brain.
Together we have one. All the way. The fact that you went into supplementation at the end by talking about customizing, and we can offer supplements and we customize the program. Again, you're leading from the heart, and you're showing the big picture. But if you lead with supplementation and they immediately think, oh, it's one of those things, or I've been involved in those, you can't lead with that and get the same response. So I would lead with your whole customization. And you said, I love the word analysis. You use the word analysis, because again, if I have interest, I might say things like, well, what kind of analysis do you do? Or I might say, well, what do you mean you customize? So just there's things there that would make me as a health and wellness person want to ask more questions.
The other thing I would throw in is you kind of glossed over the fact that your life was saved. You said it pretty quick, like pretty much saved me. I think that's such a huge part of your story that it should be a little bit more out front, because you were sick, you were saved. It did change your life. So you went through it pretty quick.
What was that?
You got to get an amen.
Right.
Yeah, I guess sometimes when I have that story, the supplements come up, and so if I'm trying not to, it's a fine balance.
Oh,
But if they ask, that's different.
Oh, if they ask, I tell them the whole story.
Right. But what I'm saying is you don't have to say my life was saved by supplements.
Mm-mm.
You can just say I was very sick. I had Lyme. I had reactions to chemicals. I was chemical sensitivity. And I found something that changed my life, and it was amazing. And then they'll probably ask, what was that thing you found? Now they've asked. It's permission marketing.
Okay.
you don't have to use the word supplement at all until they ask about it.
Okay.
So yeah, so I would just take the word supplement out and focus on more of your story. And again, just getting it out and practicing. Because here's the thing, if we don't practice on our own with the computer, recording ourselves, with a spouse, with a family member, with the wall, what happens is when you get in front of people, you start doing the ums and ahs, and you start wiggling, or you laugh. Some people laugh, at awkward times. When you do that, the party in front of you knows not to trust it. So you've got to get that to come out as a part of who you are, just like if you're having natural conversation. So that party in front of you is going, I want more information because I feel so much trust and so much energy coming off of this person. It doesn't have to be energy like Elizabeth Weber has an energy that's a different, none of us here are Elizabeth Weber. Like we wouldn't talk to people like that. But how Denise talks to somebody versus how Charlotte talks to somebody is going to be totally different. But again, they have to feel your natural energy. And so you want to make sure that that energy is going to come out of you by sharing your authentic story. Because
And you have an incredible story.
absolutely.
I mean, and Denise does too, obviously. And I know Paul does.
Well, and so does
Stacia.
Stacia.
So,
Harry, I don't know if you have the story.
Not incredible, but I have one.
well, don't minimize it.
Don't minimize it, is right.
Oh,
But that's the thing. People, they buy your heart. And that's, this business is really about the heart.
Mhm.
I
And-
talked to somebody this week that I just sent her, I actually sent her a week's worth of daily essentials. She lives out here in Troy and I know her, but she's got several autoimmune diseases and her immune system is so hyperactive right now, just coming in contact with the chemical sent her entire body into hives. And she's having to take huge doses of steroids just to get it back under control.
Okay, well, if you get a chance to talk to her, you might want to ask Charlotte to come in a three-way, because that's a very similar story where Charlotte can basically say, I know how you feel. I felt the same way.
Well, she and I kind of already had that conversation because of my immune system issues too.
Right?
So
But it's still good, Stacia, always to
Yeah.
bring a third party in, because it's almost like affirmation that it's not just you trying to sell them on it.
well, no, but most of my conversations are not over the phone when I'm doing things like that about the product. Most of them are texting.
But here's the point that I'm saying is it doesn't hurt to say, like what I did today on the call, I just said, I had already set up with Suzanne ahead of time saying, I would like you to be on this call if you're available. And she said, I'd be happy to be there. And so I already sent her the Zoom ahead of time. And I told her, I said, I will text you if I need you. And if I don't, I won't. And so when it came to a point in the conversation, we were talking about people who own gyms, not that I couldn't do it by myself, because I could have, but the magic is in the third party. That is the magic sauce of this, where you start to build trust, because what happens is as long as the third party knows how to do the call with you, and they've been trained. She got on the call and she immediately, I said to her, Scott, this is Suzanne. Suzanne, this is Scott. Suzanne, I was just telling Scott that you and your husband own a gym outside of Atlanta and that you've utilized the Market America and Shop.com systems to be able to offer to your customers, your clients, as well as create a community around you with licensed health professionals and massage therapists and other fitness trainers. Would you mind just sharing with him? I know you're so busy, and I'm so glad that, you just texted me a little bit ago and you were available to jump on here. Would you mind just sharing with Scott a little bit about your story? And she took off and told probably about 2 minutes. And then she stopped and she said, I don't want to just take up all the time. Scott, do you have any specific questions that you have at this point? So she engaged him. Of course, he looked and said no. And so she said, she went on, she told a little more of their story. And then we all kind of had a little interaction. And then basically I thanked her for her time and said, I know you're so busy. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you just hopped on here as a favor. I just wanted you to meet Scott, and Scott, I wanted you to meet Suzanne. And that was it. But what she did in that call was then edify me as well. And she said, you're so fortunate to be working with Beth and her husband, blah, blah, blah. So now he doesn't know us that well, barely at all. So she just now lifted us up, even though we had already talked about the fact of who I was and what our story was, she was able to lift us up instead of me lifting us up.
Mhm. That's one of the things that JR is talking about every Wednesday, is to make sure you're not doing anything alone.
Mhm.
Can I say something? I used to do a lot of these things alone, and I've done the last, I think, 3 not alone, and it has gone so much better. Not that I was bad before, it's just I've had better results.
Because again, even like with Dr. Joe and Marlene, when we get on there, you're leading most of it now, but they know that we have your back. And they now know that you and Lynn and us have their back. So moving forward, when they come on board here, they know they have a whole team and they're not scared.
And they've already met the team.
Yeah.
But you even do that even when they're not interested in the business. It's just, they're just for the product too.
It depends. If it's somebody very serious about the product, I mean, sometimes, I mean, somebody I have on a trial run right now, she has a sister who has a lot of chemical sensitivities. And I have to say, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's more and more of this happening now.
Yeah.
And so she has a sister who's had a ton of chemical sensitivities. And I'm not going to go into her whole story, but because I also dealt with that. And I didn't at this point want to bring another party into it because now we were already a party of 3. She said, you know, I said, oh, I'd be able to talk to your sister, because she was trying to sell her sister on the product. And when she heard my story, then she was like, oh, you'll talk to my sister? I said, yeah, I'll talk to your sister. So yeah, like when you're looking to sell product, and we ended up selling her, I sold her sister digestive enzymes, aloe, and probiotics 10. After our conversation. And I actually just got the first text. She just tried the product over the weekend for the first, and she had a little bit of a reaction to the digestive enzymes because she has a corn allergy, and she also has a citrus allergy. So we're having to be very, very cautious of the products. The aloe and probiotics have not given her any bad results. So again, it is that interaction to build it. And I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. But I mean, you need to connect, not always, but if you think like somebody like that, it's good to bring in that third party, especially if somebody has a similar situation.
Yeah, because this was just, I was just talking to her because she knows, I mean, we know each other from church, so she knows that I've gone off my meds and stuff. So that's why I didn't call anybody, because we've just been talking about the daily essentials and the OPC3 and stuff. So,
Okay. So yeah,
it wasn't about the business. I was just
Right.
talking to her about her hives.
right. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, many times it is just the product, and that sometimes it turns into more, you know, customers down the line and not a business partner. Sometimes it turns into a wellness event. You never know what it's going to turn into. So I feel it's funny. We got Charlotte, like your hair is blowing like you're a
Turn a
model.
fan on. I was
And
getting
then
warm in here.
Stacia's shoulder keeps disappearing.
Invisible.
Too funny. So Denise, are you ready?
I'm open. I don't know where to start with the conversation mode, because I haven't had many opportunities to actually have this conversation.
Okay, well, you have people you've reached out to about the business. So you have somebody that you worked with that you recently reached out to, correct?
Yeah, the girl that I used to work with, I had started a conversation with her, you know, to reconnect, because I wanted to approach her about Debt Shredder. But when I first started talking to her, like within a week after that, she like disappeared. And I mean, I had only like reconnected. We've messaged through Facebook maybe a handful of times over the past 8 or 9 years or whatever, but not anything consistent. So I was just trying to open that door again, and then she disappeared. And then so when she finally responded to that last message I had sent her, she had just gotten out of the hospital and had major surgery done on her foot. They had to take some bone out of her hip, and so she's been in traction for 5 weeks and on
Okay.
meds and stuff. And so she responded to some health stuff that I had posted. Jocelyn has a group set up where she has doctors come in and just do presentations about different things because she has a lot of doctor contacts. And one of them was about inflammation. And she said, oh, I need to see this. You know, this is my life right now. And so I sent her the link to watch the replay of that. She was in the process of helping her son close on his house last week. And she said, as soon as I, get this done, then yes, I would love to talk to your friend.
Okay. So when you say she would love to talk to your friend, you've already approached her, obviously, for her to say that. So what was your approach? What did you talk to her about? What was your story?
I told her that she's the one that I kind of mentioned last week, that I didn't try to go into a health thing with her, because I have, in some of our recent communications, have mentioned things health related, and she doesn't respond at all. So, and she knows that I was in the mortgage business for 25 years. So me talking to her about health stuff was not clicking, especially since she's been on pain meds for the past 5 weeks. It was
Right.
like, hey, what do you know about what I'm dealing with? So then she saw the post about the wellness event. And so I went back to her on that, and I said, this is a friend of mine who works closely with a lot of doctors, and I don't remember what all I said to her.
That's
but
okay. Denise, I'm going to stop you because I want to get to your story. So what did you end up doing you said you didn't want to approach her about health because she had not really reacted to that. Did you then approach her with any kind of approach to look at Debt Shredder? You
not
said
yet.
something about connecting her to your friend. I'm trying to figure out was that Jocelyn?
Well, I didn't give her a name. It was either going to be you or Jocelyn. I just said that, I have a friend who works closely with doctors, and she's a health coach. At the time, I was talking about Jocelyn because she was commenting on the wellness thing that I posted about that Jocelyn was doing. But I said, she had, in her comments on my post, she said, yeah, please take me to your leader. I want to get off of these pain meds and off of this other medication and find a way to reduce this inflammation and eliminate the pain.
Okay, so let's go away from her because that's not a situation that you got to share your story. So I thought that was somebody you might have gotten to share your story with. So tell me your story. What was that?
I did try to share my story with her, but she didn't respond to me at all.
Okay, so that's what I want to say. What story did you share with her?
My interaction with you and about my health situation. So basically my story.
So tell me that story.
Well, about 4 years ago, I went through a really crazy medical situation that I ended up seeing 5 different doctors, and none of them could really tell me what it was or, a solid way to heal it. And their last resort option was a very invasive, extensive surgery that I did not want to have. And I had an acquaintance that I met several years ago that I've kept in touch with over the years, who has a lot of just general health, natural health knowledge. And so I reached out to her for some other ideas, for some other options, because I didn't want to have that surgery. And she introduced me to some different options as far as not only changing my diet, eliminating some things out of my diet, but also supplementing with some things that helped my body to be able to heal on its own. And long story short, I ended up healing that condition completely without having to have that surgery.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now all you have to do is take that story and add a little bit to the end of it. Your next statement is, and I'm so excited because I'm now paying it forward, helping other people through owning a business with it, or something to that effect. You just have to bridge that gap, and you're leading from your heart. Obviously, you just told them a very passionate story about your changes of your life. Just add a statement on, and this is why I'm so excited about what I'm doing, because now I'm paying it forward to help other people who are also looking for alternative options.
Okay.
And if somebody doesn't look at you after that story, when you get good at sharing it, if they don't look at you and go, what are you doing? What do you mean you're paying it forward? Or what kind of business? What are you doing?
Next.
Then you move on. Next person. Don't try to convince them. If they don't respond to that story, they are just not even alive. I mean, they're not. Your story's incredible. So it's just a matter of, and that's why I'm saying we've got to get comfortable sharing the story, because you guys, do you see how hard it was for me to get her to pull that story out? She knows the story, but so often, and the reason I made her go through all of that is because we all, like all of you, I mean, it's so hard. Like Harry, I sit here and go, what the heck are you waiting for, buddy? Like you have so much capability. And Stacia's out there fighting me all the way with having these conversations because she wants to just text everybody. And texting's fine to a certain degree, but people want connection. So we've got to learn how to make those connections with people. And again, every one of you have a story to some degree, and that's what we want to hone it in. So Denise, your story is there. And you have worked very hard to take a very long story and consolidate it down, which you did a very good job of. Just add that bridge piece at the end. And I'm so excited to be paying it forward to help other people. If they don't go, I'd like some information, I'd like to learn how you got well, then they're not your right person right now. Just move on.
Okay.
And that's why we have to throw a lot of people in the pot, because I don't even know how many people we talk to in a given week Charlotte and I were just talking earlier today, and she said, oh, people say no to you too. Every day people say no to us. Every day people piss me off. Pardon my French. Because
That's not French.
well, we want it worse for people than they want it for themselves. We want this for you guys, but you've got to want it so bad that you're willing to do these uncomfortable things to get the results. So, Stacia,
Yes.
talk to me, because you have an incredible story, and I want to know, I know you're sharing it via text, but I want you to share it via voice with us.
Okay. 21 years ago now, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that required me to have my entire large intestine removed. I was in the hospital for 2 months with multiple surgeries, and during the entire stay, I was unable to eat anything in the hospital. As a result of my surgeries, it allowed me to get my health back, and it allowed me to get off of my immunosuppressants and my chemotherapy. But as a result of the surgeries, I can no longer digest most fruits and vegetables that I eat. So I miss out on those nutrients. So I learned about and started taking the Isotonics Daily Essentials about 1.5 years ago. And I take them every day. And I also take the digestive enzymes, not every day, but when my system is feeling out of whack. And so it allows me to get it back into balance. And those two products together, delivered in a drinkable mix, allow my body to fully absorb the nutrients that I can't get from what I eat and get my system and my vitamin count back to where my doctor wants it to be. So I was really happy to finally be able to find something that I could take and I can absorb and I can fully get the effects of, like regular vitamins I can't take, so that now my doctor doesn't always tell me that your vitamin D is low, your vitamin K is low, things like that. So I'm happy to find something I can use and that I can share with other people, because I have a lot of friends that have the same problem, the same disease I have. So I can help them become healthier also and find ways to get their nutrients that they are missing out with their disease.
Okay, so we're kind of following a pattern here that everyone's got their health story. And so we're going to have to, as we come back next week, we're going to have to talk about how we bridge those health stories into business conversations. Okay, because that's going to be important, because obviously in the end, you're all looking for customers, but you're also looking for business partners. Am I right? So in order to do that, we're going to have to bridge those stories. So next, what I want you to work on moving from tonight to next week, before we go through Stacia's thing here, is really work on how could you possibly work on your story to bridge it into a business question or what you're excited about in business. I mean, an easy one is just to say, and what I'm excited about is the fact that I'm now able to pay it forward. But again, Stacia, you have such an incredible, you came looking for a business. Denise came looking for a product. Charlotte came looking for a product, but you came looking for a business. So I want to really hone in on how you can fold those two stories together, because I think that's going to be really important so you can find both customers and business partners, because your story was really one of business that turned into product.
Yeah, but it's not really great to start out with saying MLMs suck and
No. And that's why I'm saying that's why we have to get this story down, because there's a way to tell this story without doing that.
That's an incredible story.
It's an incredible story, but there's a really good way to do that. And I want you guys, here's the thing, I could write all your stories for you. I know you guys, but it's not up to me to write your story. You have to write it and then I will help you tweak it. So Stacia, your story is incredible, just like everyone else's. You guys have these incredible health stories. The only thing I would say for yours is be cautious. Instead of mentioning the product right up front and telling them the isotonics, daily essentials, and the isotonics, digestive enzymes did this, I would just say, I found some nutritional ways to get my nutrition in my body that turn my health around. And my doctor is now, in checking my vitamin levels, is really amazed at the absorption that I was able to get from the delivery system. So use more generalized terms so that they have to look at you and ask a question. Well, what kind of delivery system, or what products are you taking? Or if you give them all that information up front, they immediately think, oh, she's trying to sell me.
Same with social media posts. I mean, it's the same thing. If you put a social media post and you're trying to list the products, then people aren't going to have as much interest as if you have a cup of coffee with Trim Cafe next to it and say, I found the perfect additive for my morning coffee. Then the question is begged, what's that? As opposed to saying, I add this Trim Cafe to my morning coffee and it's because then people feel they're being sold. So it's really similar to the social media rule of don't answer the questions, make them ask the question.
Create the question.
Yeah.
I took the ISM class Sunday on social media, and actually they said never,
That's right.
ever post about the product. You can have a post that has the product pictured in it, but not central.
That's right.
That's what I was saying with the cup of coffee with the Trim Cafe.
Yeah. But never put a post with they said don't ever make a post about a product.
That's
That's
right.
right.
But did you go to Tons?
No, he didn't have any virtual ones scheduled. It was with, I forget who it was with. It was a white guy.
That's right. It could be one of them number. Anyway, like even this is not dark enough, but you could see this is the greens. If this was in my post, I would not post it like that. I would post it almost like that or something. And then my cup would be over here. And I would say something like, Mimi is one healthy lady and Bailey and Holland are so happy for that. Okay. So people would have to go, well, what is she drinking? What's in her cup? What is that stuff?
Oh, and the focus, you can do the central focus on the camera where it blurs everything around the very center of the picture. Works
Right.
really
And the
well.
focus is on
Mimi.
The focus isn't on the product. The same thing with Trim Cafe. If you're going to put Trim Cafe in it, I almost tilt it or turn it backwards so that they can't see what the name is. Because if they could see the name, they can go look it up on Google.
And buy it from somebody else.
So I don't try to put any of the product ever in the focus. Okay.
I haven't actually been hardly posting on Facebook this week at all with all the protests. I'm just actually messaging and texting, but I'm staying off of Facebook.
Yeah.
Charlotte and I just had that conversation today too. We've kind of decided, if you guys have noticed, I used to post 3 times every day. I'm missing days right now. Like we've been on Facebook long enough that this is our 3rd election period. And I've decided I don't want anything to do with Facebook right now through all of this garbage. So I've gone off I literally am posting like once a day and not even every day. And because I can't deal with scrolling through everything. I can't have all that negative in my life. So Harry, before we exit for the night, I'm going to ask you, is there anything that you, through all of this, have you come up with anything that you feel could be part of your story? And again, it does not have to be product driven.
Yeah. Well, I had a question. I mean, it seems like if you know the term, the 10,000-foot view, if you don't want to get into specifics right away, first of all. Second of all, I've got maybe a couple parts to the story where, it started out that we were at work and, I guess I had inflammation. I didn't know it, but I guess I did. And my knees were hurting and Charlotte said, well, hey, try some of this, and, of course you go, no, that's okay. But she was persistent and I tried it and an hour later I was fine. So I went, wow, what is that? But the funny thing is I had heard of pycnogenol back in the 90s actually, but of course it was a pill and never really got into it, but worked with somebody that knew about it. And so anyway, the more I got to know the products, the better I liked, various things. And so I have my favorites and that type of thing. And for a while I was off of blood pressure medicine also. And with the current stress level of work, I'm back on a little bit, but so I got to get the regimen down again, which was solving that problem. So it's been a little more gradual for me, but there was that first aha moment where it was like, wow, that's great. First, if you have pain and then you take something and then you don't have it,
Right.
I remember what Harry said to me because I gave him the OPC3 and I look over, it was 20 minutes later, Harry. You're sitting there bending your knee and I walked over to him like, are you okay? He goes, this is the first time I've been able to do this in 10 years without being in pain. That's what you said to me.
Wow. Okay.
I remember that. I was like, wow, because you were like one of my first customers.
Okay, so that was my question. So he was introduced to the business through the product?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Harry, I can't wait to hear the rest of the story next week. You guys, and Paul, I'm not leaving you out, but we're going to come back to you next week, so don't think you're getting off easy here. I want you guys to take your stories, and because like Harry has obviously a great story as well, but the thing is, we've got to figure out how we're going to fold in the business to our story. So remember, there's 3 parts to your story. There's what you do or did in terms of business and health. So it might be, for example, I might say, I was an occupational therapist and I was working with more end of life, but I really wanted to be more on the preventative side because I'm all about health and wellness. Okay, that's my statement. Then the next thing is, what did you find interesting here? And then I found a system of that was a fitness system, a wellness system that encompassed things that allowed me to work with communities of people to bring them together and be able to pay it forward in a way that I was able to actually create an income stream from it. So what you're excited about, or I'm sorry, what you saw in it. Then the third part is, what are you excited about? And so just like I did with Scott, we moved to Jacksonville. This is what we're trying to form as a community. And what I'm really excited about is, despite the pandemic that's hurt people, people have an awareness for health and wellness finally. As a health and wellness director, he was like, you're right. People are aware of it now. It is a growing. So you need to form that story. Now, I was able to go on LinkedIn. I knew who he was. Stacia, you're going on Facebook or whatever, you can see a little bit about who these people are. They're interacting in a group. If you know somebody, you can formulate your story, mold it, massage it to be appealing to them. If you're at a party, you don't have that opportunity because you might not know the person. So at that point, you got to be really good at just throwing your story out there and see if they, bite it. And if they bite onto it, then the conversation ensues. And if they don't, move on to the next person in the room. Okay. But I want, if you guys can really work on your stories, and when I say work on them, getting them on paper, because if you don't have it on paper, it is everything left up to chance. So it's got to be on paper or you're going to not get good at it. Just like anything else, we've got to write it down and we got to practice it. So anybody have any last minute thoughts or anything from what I think this is excellent. You guys have such incredible stories. You're just not sharing it with enough people.
Things that say that everybody has such failing immune systems now.
They do. They do. It's a huge, huge problem out there. And people don't know that isotonics exist to change their life. So how many people can we all go out and just by sharing our stories, help them save their life possibly? I mean, that's what drives me every day. I love this business platform. I love the business model, but what drives me every day is I know that I might be able to touch another life in a positive way. And if you just lead with your heart, and that could be the business, it could be Debt Shredder, it could be MA Web Centers. It doesn't have to be a health story. I mean, that's a great story, but it doesn't have to be that. So, everybody ready to put that story together?
Yep.
All right. We will come back, same bat station next week, as Pip says.
Yeah, we'll be coming to you from Central Florida next week.
Oh yeah, we'll be back at the other house next week. Not ours. We're back. JC goes back to work on Monday. So we're going down to help Katie for a couple days while he goes back to work and gets settled. So we'll be with baby Holland next Monday night.
Yay.
Our new family edition is due at the end of the month.
Doonybug is having a baby?
No, we're gonna be picking out a pug. Dooney's gonna get a sibling.
Gotcha.
So, but it's still in the cooker.
Ours are all out of the cooker.
Yeah.
We paid the deposit. I sent them the breeder money for the deposit this weekend.
There you go. Wait, JC and Katie and Sean and Madison all paid the deposit.
Yeah, no take backs on those.
You got it. So very good, you guys. I know it's a struggle. I know we're pushing you, but we're pushing you because we know what you want. So we only push you out of love. We're not pushing you to irritate. Well, we are pushing you to irritate you into doing what you have to do to get what you want. So
Thank you for that.
And it's
you're
okay.
welcome. And I will say, send us what you write before the call, not like a minute before the call. Like sometime this week, email. So like Harry, you should email yours to Charlotte and myself just so that we can put our eyeballs on it to help you next Monday. And then like all of you can just send it to me. But I mean, I encourage you, like Denise, you should really, or Paul, whoever's going to talk to Brian, if you can encourage him to start working on that and pull it in, and Charlotte with your team be able to do that. Whether they're joining us here or they're not joining us here, they still need to be working on it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, Laura was supposed to be our questions tonight, so we took up all the time, and we're going to have Laura just do questions next week.
Good. Too
And
tired anyway.
Maria didn't get out, so it is recording, so we're good. It was recorded, so we'll post it.
All right. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good week, everybody.
See you next
Yeah.
week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.